Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Psycho Gold and this is Psycho Gold Videos. Today we're going to be checking out Dororo episode 6, which if you are watching this on YouTube, you're actually going to be getting Dororo episode 5 and 6. I've kind of been putting off watching Dororo, not because I particularly didn't want to watch it, quite the opposite. It ended on one hell of a cliffhanger after episode 5, but I've pretty much been told that this episode is very emotional and yeah, so combined with everything else that's going on, it was my intention to watch this yesterday as the last thing to sort of catch up on, but that didn't work out. So I'll do the same thing for Dororo that I did for Slime, so you'll see episode 5, its review, and then we'll go into episode 6 and its reviews. So with that said, enjoy episode 5 and I'll see you afterwards for episode 6. Oh, he's struggling with his new ability to hear. I thought he would. I said this last week. It must be so weird to have to deal with that now. He can't regulate what he can and can't hear. He's never had to deal with it. What we just do automatically, he doesn't know how. He's not learned it yet. That's what I thought, that with every sense he gets back, he's not taking the time to learn it. Okay. Hasn't he clipped it with his sword twice now? He doesn't seem to be, like, feigning, apparently, is what I'm trying to say. But, I mean, you know, falling. He's got to deal with being able to feel pain, being able to hear things now, and it's things he's never had to try and cope with before. Priestman has returned! Oh! Fatality! My dude is back! Oh, okay, so there's a war happening around them. Ah, yes, we saw this. Damn! Tough love! Oh, look, he can hear a woman's voice. There we go. There's the sound that will get him to appreciate his new senses. Oh, hang on a minute. Is that the girl from the opening? Interesting. What the hell was she actually doing in the river? So he managed to walk all the way to her. And now he's like, oh no, this was a mistake. This was a terrible, terrible mistake. But that's what I mean, like, he's been able to just shrug off his injuries and because he's never been able to feel them before. Or doesn't she live in the finest of establishments? Mio. Okay. There are lots of people here like him? Wait, what? Oh, okay. Well, clearly the man with the prosthetics hasn't been around to this village. Damn. Potato gruel. Mmm. But no, in all fairness, it's probably better than what those three have been eating, travelling on the road on their own. I mean, to be fair, they did cut up that bird. I assume that means that they ate him, but... Ah. She works during the night, huh? Okay. I get the distinct feeling that that's not going to be the end of that particular comment. Oh! Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, and they had that landslide. We've gone back to the past. Yes. Like, say, before your first child was born. So I'm guessing he's Dad's boy, you know. Now that he's older, he's like, Mom doesn't know what she's talking about. Whereas, eventually, when Hyakkimaru finds them, he's going to be the other way around, of course. Oh, maybe his wounds are infected. Yeah, that could be problematic. I would explain as well why he's struggling more than normal. Even though he is struggling because he's adjusting, but... Oh, that's quite clever. Follow the animals. Not perfect. It does have some flaws, but still. Oh. Was that a demon? Or a human? Oh, no, demon. Definitely demon. I was gonna say, that's literally how he can see. He can probably focus his hearing on the sound, which blocks out all the other chaos that he can't, regulate. I love the way she keeps covering herself when she thought he could see her soul. It's like, yeah, he can see your soul, not your deeds, love. You don't have to worry about what it is that you're thinking about. She's definitely got a nice voice. I have good news and bad news. I found the way out. The bad news is, there's a monster in the way. So the priest obviously doesn't think he can handle it on his own, because otherwise he just would have. I was gonna say, he's not in any... Oh, the priest is going as well, so they're both gonna take it on. I mean, I was hoping that he would, especially since he's injured. No, don't do that. That's way too much of a risk. I love how optimistic you are, but I don't think you... Yeah, I was gonna say, you need to stay with the kids, but Dororo... I don't think you want to go with her. But, so I'm right in thinking that the priest a second ago just saw some red aura around Hyakkimaru now as well, right? Which is why the priest is like, we definitely need to keep an eye on you. I assume that's because he's getting darker intent, and obviously he's getting his limbs back. You know, a thought just occurred to me, and I can't believe it's only just occurred to me. Everybody's talking to Hyakkimaru, but if he's been deaf his entire life, there's no way he can actually speak Japanese. So, they're just making noise to him. Oh! Priest for the save! Oh, okay, this demon is like a scarab beetle. Oh! Okay, yeah. Yeah, he has a voice. Oh! Oh.
One eternity later.
This show, man. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Dororo episode 5, and... wow. I don't know if that last part we saw with, what's the name? Sorry, I can't remember her name. Was supposed to be like a big revelation, like nobody else had worked out what she was talking about, but, didn't actually expect to see it in action, so to speak. I really wasn't expecting, like, Dororo to see... I mean, I thought Dororo would see it, but I didn't expect us to see it so vividly with her between 3 guys. It was kind of like, okay, that was a bit more than I thought we were going to see. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure she would be rather doing another job, but at the end of the day, and I think I said that twice then, she's doing what she needs to do in order to survive and keep the kids eating and relatively as healthy as they can be, and so long as she doesn't contract any diseases or illnesses, it is probably the best source of money for her. I very much doubt, especially in a place that has been so devastated by war, that she's going to get any other kind of job that's going to be able to give them what they need. Obviously, if they move to this vacant lot, like she said, it will improve the situation, but a vacant lot means they need to get things in order to be able to survive, and that means they need more money. So I knew what she was talking about pretty much from the word go, and as soon as she said she was going to work both sides of the border, I'm like, you're taking enough risk as it is. I mean, it's just a really difficult subject to broach, and it's kind of like, well, I don't know, man. I think it's really bad that Dororo had to see it that way. Like, she obviously didn't know that Dororo was following her, but man, I hope that she isn't just going to be like a throwaway character. I would kind of like it if Hyakkimaru or the priest, or maybe all of them, could actually help them and her out. But at the same time, this universe is very much not a happy place. It's very true to the time period that it's set in. Obviously, the fictional fantasy supernatural elements, you know, make of that what you will, but you know, everything around them is not great, even if you remove monsters from the mix. And it's just one of those things that, unfortunately, sometimes reality is worse than any supernatural creature that could come out of it. And, yeah, man, like... yeah, whatever. As far as I'm concerned, there's no shame in what she's doing. Like, I know she clearly doesn't think that way from the way she was acting when she thought Hyakkimaru could see her soul, or that he was looking at her when he's in fact still blind. But I don't think she's got anything to be ashamed of. Yes, you know, there's a massive debate you could have in what I've just said, but as far as I'm concerned, she's providing for the kids, and especially in that time period, I really don't think that there's anything else that she would be able to do. Apart from the fact that she's got a really nice singing voice, but are singers really going to be in that high of a demand in two villages that are not doing greatly, and, you know, they've got samurai all along the borders about to go to war with each other? I mean, who knows at the end of the day what the best solution is. I'm certainly not going to judge her, let's put it that way. I was happy, though, that the priest came back in this episode, as I said. I really do like his interactions with Dororo and Hyakkimaru, and I also like the fact that he's a bit tougher on Hyakkimaru than Dororo is, and I think sometimes that's what he needs. The fact that he said he needs to keep an eye on Hyakkimaru is making me hope that that means that the priest is going to be sticking with them for a bit longer, even if he kind of, you know, is just kind of following them. He's not necessarily going to hang out with them as much, but I hope that he's going to continue to be like a character who's always on their crisscross path. Like, you know, they go their separate ways for an episode, and then, you know, in the next town it's like, oh, it's the priest again. Hello, this is getting daft now. Or maybe this will actually be him staying with them because he needs to keep an eye on Hyakkimaru, because, like I said, they saw that he has that little bit of a red aura creeping in. He's going, like, you know, dark ultra instinct on us, which I think would be very bad for all those involved, but entirely understandable if he does have murderous intent, given what he's been through in his life. Yeah, he's definitely got the potential to go dark side, and I couldn't entirely blame him either. And I really like the fact that Priest and Hyakkimaru both were working together this time to defeat the monster, but yeah, man, that cliffhanger ending was like, what? So I was a bit confused. Are they saying that they killed the beetle and now Hyakkimaru's got his voice back, or was his voice always back at some point, but he's not really tried using it? And obviously, having your foot ripped off will definitely elicit a response of pain, which is in and of itself a what moment? So he's only had his legs back for a very short amount of time, relatively speaking, and without the ability to use his legs, that's going to severely dampen his combat ability. Like, what? I don't even know if he'll be able to use his old prosthetics, because he's still got parts of his leg, and his prosthetics will have been for all of his leg, right? So it's like, that could, I don't know, it's going to be very interesting to see how part 2 unfolds. I can't wait for Monday. There's going to be a very interesting episode for sure. Like, they seem to have left a lot out in the open. Like, we got Dororo trying to figure out what he's going to do. We've got Hyakkimaru in a pinch. We've got the priest also trying to decide what it is he's going to do. We don't know if the beetle thing is actually dead. Or at least I don't know. Maybe you guys will confirm he is. But I couldn't tell from that episode whether or not he's actually dead. And we also got to figure out what's going to happen to Lady Singer. Because I don't think that it's... I really don't want it to end badly, but I have this horrible, horrible feeling that this whole working both sides is not going to end well for her. And there are multiple different ways that it could not end well for her. And yeah, I really, really, really hope that it does, and I hope that she is okay, but I got a horrible feeling that she's not going to be, man. There's one thing that this anime in general seems to constantly do. When you think about it, all 5 episodes, they really do nail in the idea that war is bad. Like, I know that this is a very old manga, and obviously it's been an anime in the past, and then this is like a new version. It was also a PS2 game, which I actually played. Didn't actually make the connection originally until people started pointing it out. But yeah, I thought that this episode and certain other episodes have done a really good job of not so much screaming at you that war, what is it good for? But it's done it in a slightly better way. You know, it just shows you the civilian casualties, as well as like when we saw the samurai being nailed to the cross. Like, there's so much unnecessary bloodshed going on in this era, and you know, even the people on the winning side can't cope with it. Even the people caught in the crossfire don't deserve it, and quite frankly, even the people who fight in the wars don't really have any stakes in it. They're just doing it because the lords are having a disagreement, which is pretty much the crux of almost every war. As you know, not every war, I must state. Some wars are more complicated, but in this case, like, you know, like the lord of the land literally is like, oh well, we've been betrayed, blah blah blah, so we're gonna make him pay, and you know, we're not having a very good harvest season, and you know, that lord who thinks that the demons are going to ensure that his land is the best land. It's like, no, because every time Hyakumaru either kills or banishes one back to hell, I don't really know how it works, but you know, they're losing their influence and their power, and more importantly, your deal is being undone. Like, your wife just literally said, this is like it's almost going back to the old days. It's like, yes, that's exactly what's happening, because the power of the demons that has been keeping your land privileged, for want of a better phrase, is being undone by your son. And, you know, the firstborn, I have no doubt at some point is gonna come home. And like I said from the very beginning, I guarantee you we're gonna get a duel between their two kids. And one will fight for the honor of the mother, and one will fight for the dishonor of the father. Who will come out on top? Who knows, but it's probably gonna be Hyakumaru. Although now that he's missing a foot, yeah. We'll have to see what happens next episode. 3, 2, 1, go. He lost his leg but gained his voice. I'm not convinced that's how it's supposed to work, dude. You're supposed to just get stuff back, not give stuff more away. The party's definitely over. Pegleg, the Avenger. Yeah, no. Don't ask. Just leave her to it. But the fact that she's that heavily bruised in itself is kind of like, because the idiot Hyakumaru missed not having, you know, a prosthetic limb so much, he decided to go and adjust. Yeah, and Dororo's got like some sort of PTSD syndrome from what he saw, and it's like, don't say anything, Dororo, just keep it to yourself. Doing what she has to do to keep them alive. So what's Dororo gonna do? I hope nothing. But Dororo is struggling with this. I mean, I do get why, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't get why, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, definitely looks like he's inherited his dad's mental fortitude, shall we say. Damn! That's the first thing that guy has said that I agree with. Then you'd end up dead. And your dad knows it too. Which, considering how much of a despicable prick he is, you know, that's actually kind of surprising and says a lot. Oh! Damn! He's got quite the little complex in his head. I can't get over the fact of what his dad said though. Like, a bit. Oh, I love it. I mean, I don't think she necessarily cares more for him than you. It's just you live there. Wait, it's the same for him too? Oh my lord, he's gonna die from blood loss in a minute. The amount of blood he's, you know, it was oozing out when the insect cut it off, or bit it off. I didn't actually catch how it happened. Oh, there you go. And then it was dripping all the way back. Lay your ass down. The problem is, he had proper prosthetic limbs, and it's like, where did they go? Does he still got them somewhere, or? But she's already worked out how to get through to him. It's like he doesn't mind her voice. That priest is so perceptive, man. He just knows, doesn't he? I love the way he's peeking around the corner. He's blind. Oh, so there's a very real possibility that he could come out, like I said in the last episode. Not necessarily a demon, but definitely not particularly happy. A happy camper, shall we say. That's because they're being tender at the end of the day, and I think that's one word to safely say that you are not used to having. I have a horrible feeling I know where this is going. Yeah, don't go. Oh, I see. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. Yeah, I agree with Dororo and I agree with her. Why stop at rice paddies? Build an empire! I don't think you're going to come back tonight. Oh, wow. He's already, like... Okay. You have a legion of people there who are like, train us in the arts of disability combat. Problem is, she's doing exactly what a certain clan of ninjas used to do. Like, she's not doing it to be a spy, but that is the sort of thing that, well, it still probably does happen, but it definitely happened back then in that era in Japan. Oh man, she looks drained. How many men have you brought to take on one woman? I get the distinct impression that this is going to make my blood boil in a minute. Oh man! Oh, he's giving himself a sword leg like he used to have. Nah, he's got this time. Oh. That was the last kid dying, wasn't it? So, considering how intelligent you've been so far in the series, Dororo, running straight at people that have just killed them was not your smartest move. Oh, yes, Yakumaru, your timing, as always, is perfect. Oh, she's still alive. Remember that darkness that the priest warned is raging inside of him? I think it's about to show up. Oh, there we go. You're all gonna die. Horribly, painfully. And I don't care. Please, rip them to shreds. I'm okay with this. Whoa, okay, that got gory. Oh, what's the matter? You were having so much fun killing defenseless children. Someone with swords, too much of a problem to fight back? Thought they were supposed to be trained samurai. I mean, I get the not turning into a monster thing, but I'm actually quite surprised that Dororo was able to see it that way. Oh, it's Rice. He spoke. So, that was Dororo episode 6. Oh, I'm glad I didn't watch that when it was airing. Oh, I think that would have finished me off. Okay, so... Dororo episode 6. Well, I can see why DeeBeeGeek put warning strong emotions. I'm gonna have to go watch his video when I'm editing, but sorry, I'm so sporadic. There's probably I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna cut out all of these moments or if I'm just gonna leave them in. But I'm kind of doing this because the fiery anger that's in here is like, okay, I get it, but it's an anime, dude. Chill. Okay, so this is proving much harder than it should be to put my thoughts into words. Might have to do a systems purge. Yeah, give me 2 secs, and I'll do a systems purge, and then we'll get on with the review. So, if you're wondering what a systems purge is, in my experience, the best way to get rid of something like a negative emotion, or to kind of cleanse your mind, for me, it's nostalgia, and there's no better place to escape to than your childhood. So, I'm gonna remove those negative feelings with good feelings. So, stretch out the arm and. Yeah, that about did it. Going back to your childhood always works, so I don't think we need you anymore, Dragon Flute. You can go back on the shelf now. Ugh. Right, so, Dororo episode 6. Man oh man, there's a lot of emotions to go through in this one. Some things that I liked was the fact that Hyakkimaru wasn't crippled by losing his leg. Instead, he was just focused on building himself a new prosthetic leg, which the fact that he actually has the technological know-how to create not just a prosthetic leg, one that has the ability to bear his weight, but also somehow he managed to make it into a concealed weapons holder like his older prosthetic limbs, which now makes me wonder, did he make them himself somehow? Because that's kind of cool that somehow he was able to learn how to do that from the guy that obviously took him in. Given that he himself didn't actually have any limbs, obviously he must have very fine control of those prosthetic limbs that were created for him in order to have the craftsmanship to essentially make DIY versions of them out of sticks and whatever he was using, because obviously it ain't duct tape, but to wrap around the sword inside of the prosthetics. I was really happy with the way that Dororo handled dealing with the revelation of what Mayo, I think her name was, does for a living at night. Like, I'm happy that Dororo didn't get mad or didn't get annoyed and didn't make a scene. Like, I thought that that was handled really well. And I also like the fact that Mayo was like, I'm not ashamed of what I do. You know, I do it because we need money and it pays. End of discussion. And then the realization that obviously Dororo's mum had been given the same choice and she refused. But I think what they're saying is because she refused, she ended up dying because no food, no money, etc. And obviously from Dororo's point of view, dying with your principles, great, but you still die. At least Mayo is staying alive and taking care of all the kids. So yeah, Dororo was like, you go for it. And I'm like, that's pretty cool outlook. I really liked that version of events, because it's not normally what happens when prostitution gets brought into storylines. Like, it's one of those things that is almost vilified, and it is what it is, man, especially for the time period it's set in. Like, whatever, bro. And I just realized that my headphones are going to appear on this halfway through because I had to do something else in between talking, so... Oh well, they're on now. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's really difficult to talk about this episode because I kind of just feel like this episode was purely and utterly just an emotional one. The fight between Hyakkimaru and the insect demon, the rematch was really good. But come on, the bit that we all want to talk about is after he gets his leg back somehow, really quickly. Seeing the destruction that had been caused by humans, of course. Not the demons. No. They're nothing compared to the destruction that humans can bring upon themselves. So yes, so seeing the temple burned and the kids basically slaughtered, and the fact that we actually saw one trying to escape who, you know, doesn't really exactly have much chance, given that I think they're running on one leg and they don't have two arms, and it's like... And yeah, just the way that they were cut down so without remorse or guilt from those guys just made what happened next more enjoyable to watch. And yeah, I am under no doubt that I would end up being one of the darker things if I was in Hyakkimaru's position, but I don't care. That whole sequence, man, just the only other... You know what, that actually may have just driven me more angry than the Shield Hero episodes, where I got very annoyed. And Dororo and Shield Hero, man, you are doing so well, both of you, at writing these moments. And the crazy thing to think is that Dororo was written, what, like 50 odd years ago? And if the storyline was anything like this in the original manga, I just can't imagine what people must have thought of it. It must have been so ahead of its day in terms of what subjects it wants to talk about, how it wants to deal with said subjects. It's just so crazy to think about, man. Like, you have to constantly remind yourself, this isn't something that's been written recently. Dororo is an ancient manga in terms of, you know, compared to most anime that are airing right now, there isn't any other anime that I can think of that was adapted from material that is so old, and yet is also so good. But then, I've said that before, that, you know, adapt something that's good to begin with, and you'll actually get something that's good when you finish adapting it. But anyway, yeah, so Hyakkimaru comes back with Dororo. Dororo has a bit of a meltdown, gets a bit stupid, runs straight at the armed enemies. Thankfully doesn't die. But when it does look like Maid is about to chop Dororo down, Hyakkimaru comes in and instead chops off his arm. I liked that scene. So, Hyakkimaru still hasn't quite figured out what's going on, I don't think, about Dororo's reactions, what Dororo is saying, and the fact that Hyakkimaru and Dororo can both see that Mayu is not in very good shape. Hyakkimaru found his voice. He decided to scream, and it was a Wolverine-style scream. Yeah, man. If you want to talk about Berserker Rage, oh, Hyakkimaru found his anger. Which, let's face it, is how I reckon 90% of people watching this were at that particular scene. It's like, no more than then have you ever felt the desire to see a main character lose it and just wipe the floor with everyone there. And he did just that, tenfold. The sequence was gory-ish, in as much as you could see that he was being unnecessarily violent because he was angry, which I loved. In my opinion, they got what was coming to them. I have literally no sympathy for them whatsoever. I love those moments where they're like, oh, please forgive us, give us mercy, we want, you know, death. And it's like, I'll bet you that the kids that you just wiped out said similar things about wanting to live, or leaving their friends alone, or leaving their elder sister alone who's looked after them. The same kids who don't have all of their limbs attached and have already lost everything. And, you know, I bet your response was to evilly grin at them and just say no, followed by Shine. And it just makes me smile that people who are that conceited and selfish and, in my opinion, evil, even though, yeah, alright, maybe they're not evil, but you know what I mean. You can't chop down kids who, even if they had all of their appendages, they ain't gonna be able to fight a fucking samurai. Which these guys all are, I should remind everybody. Their performance against Hyakkimaru may have caused you to forget that, but they are all actual military samurai that allegedly are supposed to have lots of training, and this isn't their first moment of, shall we say, questionable morality, since, yeah, as somebody else said in another episode, the samurai could basically do whatever they wanted back then, and obviously we saw in a previous episode that a samurai had essentially just cut someone's arm off because they didn't like the way that they were looking at them, and it was a kid, funnily enough. It's a recurring theme here. It's like cruelty to kids, man. They think we've got problems over here because someone told a kid, no, go back to Japan. They just cut your arm off. It's like, I don't like you. Oh, man, it's just... I gotta keep laughing because otherwise you'd get a rageful, and I'm not feeling a rage. I got enough negative emotions running through me for the last couple of weeks to last for a while, thanks. Then you had that massive tearjerker moment where it was like Hyakumaru was holding I keep calling him Milo, and I'm sure that's not right. Is it Milo? Anyway, the girl that he very much was attracted to and cared about. Oh man, that was just... I've seen films that do way worse jobs at actually making you connect to the characters and investing in them emotionally. The connections that you have to Hyakumaru, Milo, and Dororo, especially in this episode, are ridiculous. Like, I at least care very, very much about what happens to them, and this episode, I could just tell, even if people hadn't said that this one was emotional, the second they gave that order to eliminate spies, I was like, no, I know what's going to happen. But even thinking that I knew what was going to happen, actually seeing it, actually having to watch it and live through it, essentially, just like Hyakumaru and Dororo now have done, was way worse than I thought it was going to be. Nothing particularly graphic was shown that they did to her or the kids, apart from showing a couple of them get killed, but that was enough, man. You know, like, they didn't need to be shown to be cruel and violent. That was just enough to show what they did, and it still gets your blood boiling, and it's like, I said it in the episode, you know, when Hyakumaru starts cutting them fools up, and you know, you can see the look of panic and fear on their faces, and they're just holding their swords at this point. They're not actually, like, even mounting a resistance, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, were you allegedly highly trained samurai with, you know, military training behind your backs, and you're officially actually part of an army? Were you only good at fighting defenseless children half your size and 2/3 your age? Somebody who actually comes at you with a couple of swords. 4 arms, I might point out. Hyakumaru doesn't actually have any bloody arms, and, you know, they just go to pot, and it's like, no, I don't have any sympathy for you. And that moment where Dororo let one get away, I'm like, you're gonna regret that. I didn't say it in the episode because I was just gone, but, you know, that is gonna come back and bite you in the ass, because now somebody is still alive who knows about you. Now story is gonna spread of you amongst the army, and I bet someone higher up, like, say, the Lord of the Land, is going to make a connection to, somebody is going around with ridiculously good sword abilities who's missing his limbs. That sounds like somebody that I think my wife gave birth to. No, but surely he was drowned in the river by that old woman, but then she never came back. We never saw her again. I never thought anything of it. I mean, people leave my employ all the time. I'm a dick. Anyway, I'm going off track here. But yes, I imagine that is going to be a huge tactical misstep. Now, don't get me wrong. The moral step is that he did the right thing and stopped after he'd calmed down and was, like, not a cold-blooded killing machine. But again, he wasn't killing them in cold blood. That was very much hot blood. Those were hot-blooded kills. And, I know that this phrase is going to trigger some people, but you know what? It's how I feel. I don't care. They fucking deserved it, alright? I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. In fact, I mean, I'm a vindictive git anyway, but honestly, if I had been Hyakumaru, if I had Hyakumaru's skills and Dororo had said stop, even though I'd just learned to talk, I'd have figured out how to say the word no, and that last samurai, I'd have gone with one arm, one leg, watched the little stump crawl away, and then Mortal Kombat finish his ass with a proper fatality. Like I said, rage me is not as fun as happy laughing every couple of minutes awkwardly me. So we're going to rewind that back a bit. Happy thoughts, nostalgia, cheesiness, and one-liners. Okay, there we go. I'm back. So, yeah, I really enjoyed the episode, even though it was terrible in the best ways. Like, I like stories that are dark. I like stories that are morally grey. I like stories that make me feel attachments to characters, and I'm literally worrying about what they do. I've never watched Game of Thrones properly, and I know I'm going to be an emotional wreck watching that episode with, like, irritation, anger, annoyance, because I know that the big gimmick of Game of Thrones and Fire and Ice before that is that people die. And yes, to borrow epic rap battle of history lyrics, yes, it's true in a life that is filled with chance and anarchy, but come on, man. I mean, there's so many characters that die all the time, just seemingly randomly, and I think that that's going a little bit too far, whereas this, I think, is much more believable, to me at least, whereby, you know, Hyakkimaru and the priest and Dororo, they kind of have this weird crossing paths thing, but other people who get near them, they don't do so well. And ironically, if you think about it, it actually had nothing to do with Hyakkimaru and Dororo being there. That is the reason that they died. It's very much their lives and their storyline that just met an inevitable conclusion. Unfortunately, I do think it's inevitable from the second she started working both camps. I just had a funny feeling that that was going to end badly for her. Because, yeah, working both camps, yeah, I don't know. I know why she did that, but I just couldn't see that ending well. And it didn't. It really didn't end well. But yeah, her actually dying did kind of take me by surprise, because she's so heavily featured in the opening. I'm guessing she's gonna have a big effect on Hyakkimaru's development, and she's gonna stick with him in terms of her memories, but yeah, I really thought she was gonna be around for a bit longer. But then I could say the same thing about the priest, because if you think about it, if the priest hadn't decided to just leave again, he would have been there when the samurai turned up. And I'm fairly confident, even though the priest is getting on in age, I think he'd have easily defended the kids and Mio without having any issues. And I've just now realized that her name is Mio, and I think I've been calling her Milo up until now. So if I have said Milo at any point, I apologize. I mean, no disrespect to the dead. I also really like the fact that they were kind of addressing that, Hyakkimaru really shouldn't have gone out, because he wasn't ready, he hadn't yet adapted, and he's still struggling with his hearing, which is kind of a bit weird. You can go out and kill a giant insect thing, but you're struggling with the, just hearing in general with barely anything happening. But I'm kind of watching it and thinking about it, and I think he's over his issues with hearing now. I think that's one of the things that he was trying to deal with whilst he was crafting his prosthetic leg, whilst he was getting back on his foot. And it's just one of those things that I'm hoping is kind of done with now. Like, I don't mind if they want to talk about it, mention it, have this thing again with other senses, like he's got to learn to talk and, having vocal cords and being able to communicate with people in ways other than just a blank stare. That's going to be very different for him as well. Again, though, I don't know how he's going to be able to speak, so to speak, unless Dororo is going to, help him with language, because, again, going back to something that I've said in a previous video, he's deaf, or he was deaf, and he was mute. There is no way that he knows how to talk and communicate in the Japanese language, but somehow he knows how to read. So I don't really pretend to understand that stuff, and to be honest, I'm just going to leave it, because I don't think I'm going to get a satisfactory answer to those sorts of questions. So that's it for me. I think I'm just going to leave it. But that was something that I was thinking, how's he going to talk? Working out the name of Maya was fair enough. I think it's Maya. Oh, God, I'm so bad at this. My memory is just... Anyway, I think the fact that he worked out her name was really good, because, yeah, he really cared about her, and that was the emotions, and that was everything connecting, and then, he did his little Logan scream, and it was so great. I mean, I think other stuff happened in this episode before that point, but that's really the only part of the episode that I'm going to be playing over in my head for the next God knows how many days. My only real advantage is that it's not long now until Dororo episode 7, so I might be able to get it out of my head by whatever horrible thing happens in Dororo episode 7. Oh, why do I do this to myself? I genuinely can't remember how the episode started. Oh no, it was with Hyakkimaru bleeding everywhere and Maya taking care of him, even though she'd kind of been handled a bit rough in her night job. Yeah, that was right. That was it. That we were seeing him recovering and her working the jobs, and then, yeah, she spoke with Dororo after he admitted that he knew what she was doing for a living. Yeah, no, I did talk about that. That's cool. But yeah, I really like this show. Like I said, it's really taken me by surprise where this show's going, and I like dark shows. There's a side to me that likes dark stuff. Doesn't really get much chance to come out with anime. It does, but I haven't reacted to any stuff like that. Like I said, one of my favorite anime is Psycho Pass. There's another one called Parasite that I really want to watch, and there's also Terraformers that I want to watch, both of which I've been told are not, shall we say, happy-go-lucky anime. But there's some others as well, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, that's going to be it for Dororo episode 6. Obviously, you guys on YouTube also saw Dororo episode 5, so please leave comments down below letting me know what you thought of both of the episodes. I'll try and actually be back on schedule this upcoming week with Dororo episode 7, Slime 7, Mob Psycho 107. It should all be fine as of now, because even though like this is going to take another, I think it's 4 weeks before my foot is on a stage where I can just go for a walk and not severely be disinclined to do so. But as far as doing recordings goes, it is now at a level that I can manage being at my computer for prolonged periods of time. The only downside is that I really struggle at the moment with energy levels and focus, which I was flat out told would be the case. I've been told to keep it elevated and iced, and then I've got to take various different painkillers, and I'm going to be tired because my body's trying to heal, and it's bruised every day. I swear it gains a new bruise, but it is getting better. So that's, that's good. And my mental energy for this is coming back. Like this morning, I woke up with Immigrant Song stuck in my head. So of course that also made me think of Thor. And all I could think of is both Thor entering in Infinity War, but also Thor in Ragnarok, where he gains his lightning powers back. And both of his entrances end with massive amounts of lightning coming down on his opponents, and all I could think of was like a meme where it's like, this is me, those are all my negative feelings, they go boom, and then my following sentence, if we're doing the Infinity War, would be, bring me anime! So, fingers crossed, I'm going to be getting back to normal in terms of anime at least fairly soon. Still easier to watch than it is to edit, but I am getting there. Apologies that everything has been so crap lately. Like I said, I am trying. I haven't stopped. I've been trying to keep stuff uploading as well as I can manage. But yeah, from this point on, I'm hoping to be caught up by at least Tuesday. But I think I'll be caught up by Monday, so I can at least watch them on Monday, even if I don't necessarily get stuff uploaded on Monday. But I should be all good by Tuesday. Which also means I can then get back onto the other anime series that have kind of been neglected. Because yes, for those asking, I will be continuing Hunter x Hunter. Sorry that I posted 3 episodes and stopped. It just sucked with the timing. I've already watched up to episode 10 on Patreon, so I can get 4, 5, and 6 out once I'm caught up, once I'm okay with the airing anime. And then I'll be carrying on with all that stuff. Same with My Hero Academia. I haven't forgotten either of those two, for those asking. So yeah. That's going to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for sticking with me. If you are new around here and you like any of the anime I've just suggested, or you have more suggestions for me, I'm always happy to hear them. And please consider subscribing. But that's going to be it for me, guys. I am Psycho Gold, and I will see you in my next video. Psycho Gold, out.